a step outside and seize the day now. Set aside your worries, it's okay now. The sun is here to stay. Blue skies, feel the wind beneath you as you fly.
Good morning, YouTube. It's Janita with Blessed Press Creations. Thank you so much for joining us once again. And today we are going to be working on placemats. What you see right here before you is just a map of Italy that I download. Now, as you see, when I scroll it across our canvas right here, this gray spot is my canvas. I have this larger than the canvas because I'm going to do some work to it. But when you see that I put it over my canvas, you see that it covers the canvas. That's because there's a background on this. But what I need to do is have this map of Italy be broken apart. Since it has a background that needs to be removed, when I use the trace panel, it's going to separate each and every one of these areas because they were obviously drawn and then put together or whatever, however graphic designers do what they do with this. But when I go to take the background off, it's going to individualize each one of these pieces. So we're going to start by, first we're going to start by doing what we always want to do so that if I lose power, if my computer shut off, I will more than likely be able to recapture this. So I'm going to first start off by naming this. I'm going to go here and say save to my library, which is in the Silhouette Studio software. And I'm going to name it. And I'm going to call it DD Placemats. Okay. I'm going to save it inside of here. So that way, right off the bat, I have the file. Okay. So now it's saved. And then I'm going to go ahead and get the trace panel open, trace select area. And what I don't want in here, I will just remove. So I'm going to highlight my map. It's going to only highlight what's, actually part of the graphics. The white background won't be there. So when I see those little dots pick up, I know that it's ready. I'm going to take it up to about 74, 75 is good. That's a good quality of the image. I don't see anything left out. Now these little parts like that, I'm going to leave them because they may be little, they may not be little graphic droppings, but it might be that it's actual little islands or something off of that particular area of the map. So I'm going to leave all those little speckles and dots because they may be a part of the map. And then I'm going to say trace and detach. Okay, so now that that has blinked off, we know that I can take away the background. Okay, so I'm going to highlight that and delete it. I'm going to also get rid of this IT because I'm going to write my own text stating Italy. And now that I have that there, what I'm going to do is highlight all of this. I want to copy it, and then I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to weld it together and just have that as a backup. So I won't, if I mess something up terribly, I won't have to go through that process again. Okay. And now that I have that, I'm going to weld together the little areas that have those little tracings. So all of the areas that's right here, I'm going to group those together. I'm going to come over here and select these guys. Okay, so now that I have this downloaded and it's separate, I'm going to go ahead and try to implement putting the pictures in these shapes. So I have that boot in the background, and what I went and did real quick is I went to Word Art and I designed the boot with some Italian phrases that we're accustomed to or that we're used to using in English. Now let me grab all of my placemats, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them all together, and I'm going to align them so that they're center and they're even on the top because they're all the same size. Now what I'm going to do now is go and get one of the actual placemats and measure the size of it so that I can size these appropriately. My placemats have rounded corners. I do not want to print this with square corners right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the shapes panels right here and get this rounded rectangle here. And then I'm going to determine how round I want my corners to be. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to make this, if I do 17, a half an inch on each side will be well too big. So I'm going to do 16.5. I'm going to go with that, and then I'm going to duplicate this 4 times, and then I'm going to go back to my downloads folder. What I'm going to do is drag and drop them right into the rectangles. Now I'm going to ungroup this one, take my boot, bring it to the front. Then I'm just going to group these two together. Now I could leave the red border around it because the software is not going to print it.